Nora.
So Nora is in New York, and she went to the Diddy trial today.
Okay.
Yeah, and so she's with the New Party, which is a podcast, and and so I wanted Nora you to come on just to give us a quick Diddy update because I have a separate question for it, Trevion. So I want you to give us a quick update. What happened today at the courthouse with the Diddy trial?
Thank you so much, Dana, for having me. Trivion's very nice to meet you. I've seen you on other podcasts. But today was definitely a very exciting, eventful day. I would say it's a lot of highs and lows. It was a win overall, I think, for the defense. I don't think Mia was very credible, but I think a low was the fact that they finally did introduce us to a co-conspirator. There was one now officially named. He's not testified yet, but what I'm gathering, they're in works to do an immunity deal with him. And that was, what was his name? Sorry, Garcia.
And who is Mia? Mia is his former assistant.
So Mia, it was Eddie Garcia. So Eddie Garcia, the co-conspirator, he was the security manager for the Intercontinental. If you recall, the Intercontinental was the video that was leaked where Cassie was brutally assaulted by him. Mia was his assistant from 2009 to 2017, and she alleges that he raped her 3 times. But today, there was a lot of holes in her story. The biggest thing that came out is that she continued to text him after her 2017 settlement of $400,000. She continued to text him up until his recent birthday in 2023, 12 days before Cassie dropped the bombshell lawsuit. So, I mean, you know, it pokes holes because the things that she was texting, it wasn't just, hey, God bless. It was, I love you. I'll always love you. I hope we can talk together. I'll always remember the good times. Hey, I had this dream with R. Kelly and you in it. R. Kelly was trying to rape me on an elevator and you saved me. He's always been my protector. So what was it? Did he rape you or was he your protector? It felt like she was lying. I'm going to be honest with you. And the whole time she had her head down like this. She talked really low. She couldn't look up. But then when she was reading the text messages, it's like a different voice came on. It was, hi, Diddy. Hey, like she had 2 different voices. It was very odd. And the biggest bombshell thing to me that came out was the last thing she texted him on his birthday. It was a photo. It was hilarious. It was Diddy dressed as Santa Claus. He had a gray beard and he was, without being graphic, he was holding himself in his groin area. And she was sitting to the side, her face blurred out in a little tutu. It was very sexual. And honestly, I was like, is this her? I was shocked. But they were like, Mia, is this you? Yes.
So, and then I said, so you were able to see what did he look like? What did he look like? Any facial expressions? Because you say he looked a hot mess.
Diddy, the sketch artist, is not doing it justice. He looks worse in person. He's gained about 30 pounds because now he's sober and clean. He's very gray. I think as the days have progressed, it's like he's gotten grayer. He's like white now. He looks like Santa Claus. And he was sitting here the whole time. His mother was in the courtroom today. Justin also showed up. She was very serious. She looked very somber. She was dressed in yellow. She looked beautiful, but she looked like upset. And people were yelling things out to her when they were leaving. And she was like mad. I mean, every day they're going upset. And I understand it. It's hard to hear. But yeah, I mean, it was very tense today. And he definitely was staring her down. And Diddy stares you down too. He's like looking in the courthouse for people. And he also does this a lot. It's very bizarre. Yeah.
How did Brian Still do? Because he did the cross with Mia.
Phenomenal. I mean, I think he kind of beat her over the head too much. Oh, this was the best part, y'all. This was the best part. He literally says her, wasn't this Me Too movement money grab? We bust out laughing. I'm glad I was in the overflow for that. Yeah, it was, I couldn't believe he said that. And they didn't object or anything. Well, they objected, but the judge overruled it.
Oh, overruled is not in the defense, not in the persons who's cross-examined in favor.
Overruled means like, I'm going to dismiss it. Sustained means you can't continue asking. Like it's like your objection is sustained. Like
overruled is overruled. He will allow the act.
Right.
Okay.
He will allow. But Prosecution accused him of being too aggressive with her. They're like, oh, she's a rape victim. You can't talk like this. It's you're being aggressive. And the judge was so fair. He was like, well, I didn't notice that, but if I notice it, I promise we can talk about it.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. You're going back tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
And you said it was a little bit of drama outside with other content creators there.
Listen, honey, people be skipping that damn line, and it's like, come on now, like we all got to be here. And the people that skipping is crazy to me because they're the ones that show up every goddamn day. Like
So it was people skipping a line so that they could get in because only 14
and
people could be
right
inside the actual
in
courtroom.
this actual courtroom
Everybody
was
else
in
was
the overflow.
and you was in the overflow.
Right.
So you said Brian Still, he did a great job.
I think so. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It
And
was very, I made friends with people that got inside, and they told me it was very obvious that the jury does not believe her. And she's one of the counts. So this is a good thing for Diddy.
okay. And you're going to be there tomorrow.
Yes. Brian, my goal, pray for me. I'm going to make it inside. I'm getting there at 5 a.m. And now I know the rules. I know the game. So I'm going to make sure I get up in there because they kind of like overpassed us. I'm going to ask, hey, are you here with the press? Let me get in front of you. Because if you're here with the press, it's two different lines. You're going to be behind me either way. Because what they did was I was kind of in the back and then they skipped me.
So listen, I wanted to ask you about Diddy too, honey, because you in PR. The first question I want to ask you about Diddy is your overall take so far.
My overall take right now is Diddy's defense team is doing amazing. As it stands right now, if the court adjourned, and they had to read a verdict tomorrow, reasonable doubt is all up and through this case. And I tell everybody, Diddy is a gangster. Diddy might be the devil, but the devil is a player too. All you have to do is put Diddy's back against the wall, and Diddy is always going to come out swinging. And he very rarely loses. Now, them giving him time served, I don't think that he's going to go, give him a life sentence or 15 years or not. Actually, right now, from what we've seen, if it ends tomorrow, Diddy is going to get time served. The domestic violence situation, his freak off situation, all of those people were willing participants. It's sort of like representing R. Kelly. These people wanted to be with R. Kelly. These people wanted to be around Diddy. Just like today, Nora was talking about Mia, his former assistant. Still, they were addicted to the lifestyle, and Diddy knew it. So Diddy played them exactly like they were playing him. Diddy's not stupid. And if it ends today, Diddy walks with time served.
You saying that he will walk because it is a jury. So if it's reasonable doubt, this is RICO. RICO a lot of times is hard to beat. Now, you know that very well,
Not
honey.
True. Not true.
So this is where I'm going with it. Because listen, you know someone very well who was up on RICO in Georgia. Was Trump up on RICO in New York? No, it wasn't RICO in New York. It was just RICO in Georgia.
Right.
But what is the difference, Trump versus Diddy when it comes to this RICO? I know there has to be some similarities and some differences. What would be some of the similarities you would think between Trump and Diddy's RICO? I know it's two different states, two different accusations, but RICO is RICO, So do you think there's any similarities?
First of all, I've never heard of a one-man RICO. That's where I think this prosecution have gone wrong. They've got 8 charges, I guess, against Diddy. They've got to prove 3 of them. Right now, I think the difference in between Trump and Diddy, in Georgia, they actually could put together co-conspirators. Diddy's case, it's a one-man RICO. That's the real difference between this situation. And the word RICO and this RICO charge, they just throw it out there because it can mean anything. So they do it in order to try and encapsulate some charges that will meet that charge. But in this case, a one-man RICO, it's almost never heard of. And I look at those charges, that RICO charge that they put against Diddy, this is something that's bigger than just the case against Diddy. You don't throw a one-man RICO out there because a man is freaky and people wanted to be around him and he paid for it. What are you going to get him for? Solicitation, and you put that in a RICO? Like, it's a sad case, but as much as I do not approve or condone of Diddy's behavior, at the end of the day, this, warfare against Diddy is something bigger than just these charges that they've drummed up.
Right. And so, it seems like when you have these type of prosecutors, mainly Democrats under a certain administration, that they position in these different states, going after certain people for whatever the reason, because I think the rabbit hole with Diddy goes a whole lot deeper. If he is, because I did ask the judge this, if he is found guilty on the RICO charge, and if he has a trust set up for his kids, that could break your trust, So a lot of times that's where a lot of people put their money, their wealth, and set up a trust. And they're able to go and break the trust, take his money. He could possibly end up broke and, bankrupt. And his kids won't have anything if he is found guilty. So this is kind of serious. But like you said, that you never heard of a RICO as just a one man. Nora mentioned earlier that, a lot of the prosecutor witnesses are taking, what do you call that, immunity? So
Yes.
so that they will not be a
Co-conspirator. Yeah.
right, along with him. So, and I find that kind of odd. Because it seems like they just want him and they don't care about nobody else. But RICO means an entity, an enterprise of multiple people involved doing something illegal for
Enterprise being
profit.
the key word. So, you're absolutely right. I've been through this before. If you look at the situation with R. Kelly, he didn't get charged with a RICO, but at the whole monopoly in these warfare law cases, and I'm a witness to being one. I know what it means to have the judicial system, put a case of warfare on you. And Diddy is dealing with that, and R. Kelly dealt with that. R. Kelly's, accusers that came out after they signed NDAs and took $1 million a piece, and the money ran out. You got, Jim DeRogatis and, Lifetime coming at them saying, hey, we'll give you $50,000 if you do this and if you say this. Well, their money's gone. Of course, they're going to take it. But all of these parents were involved in this situation, even though when I worked for R. Kelly, all 5 women in the house were legal. They were getting shoes, dogs, wigs, everything that they wanted. They all had the lifestyle until it was that, hey, Kim Fox got in trouble with, I am not killing, Black, whatever his name, and Jussie Smollett. She got in trouble with Jussie Smollett because she gave him a donation. She had to take the, heat off of her. What did she do? She turned around and she, put this case on R. Kelly to get the heat off of her. And so when everybody gets a whiff of it, he's bleeding in the water. Here come all the sharks. So you've got everybody now, including Sony, including Arista, everybody that he had a song on a publishing deal or a record deal. All of R. Kelly's catalog has now been, upheaved from him. And this is exactly what they're trying to do with Diddy. But again, I will say it, if there's anybody in this industry that's smarter than the industry because he learned from the industry, it's Diddy. I've been around Diddy. I've been to his parties, the public ones. I know who Diddy is, and I'm going to almost side with him to win this case, not because of the bad, but because of the bigger bad that comes against these men who have these enormous catalogs worth billions and billions of dollars. And that's what we're saying again in the Diddy case.
Yeah, because when he's throwing the all white parties, especially when you talk about industries around the Grammy awards and stuff like that, a lot of corporations sponsor these. When you talk about Ciroc or Deleon, record labels, there are a lot of corporations that sponsor a lot of these Diddy parties that they're claiming a lot of these illegal acts were taking place. So shouldn't they be implemented if this is such, an illegal enterprise that he was running. So it's a lot of hands that played a part in this man's so-called, criminality. But he's the only one being blamed. And that alone for me, I have a problem with that. And I also have a problem with if it is domestic violence, right?
Exactly.
We could say
This is domestic violence case. You know what I mean? It's not, all of the friends that they had over that Cassie was willing, and I'm going to call them friends because they came more than once. They were having their, extracurricular activities with, and out of enjoyment, to her own admittal. This is just, again, I hate Diddy's behavior. I've hated his behavior for a very long time. Has nothing to do with this case. But what I do admire is what he's done for this industry, what he's built, how many Black men in this world have been able to do what Diddy has done. And at the same time, I know Diddy is the biggest fighter in this game. Cassie snitching to the feds saying, hey, he's got all these videotapes behind the wall, behind the bookshelf. Diddy is not dumb. Diddy's not going to leave every piece of dirt that he has on everybody behind a wall in a house that can catch on fire. So I guarantee you, should Diddy go down, and they all need to reevaluate this situation. All of his friends have not called to check on him. Everybody who was involved with radio silence. Mary J. Blige ain't even coming up and say, Diddy, keep your head up. Which I think is more bogus than anything. Mary J., you're wrong. I'm just going to tell you, you're wrong about that, because no matter what, a friend is a friend. You knew about Diddy this entire time, and now he has this situation, and you can't even say publicly, hey, Diddy, keep your head up. That's not condoning anything, but this is what's happening with Diddy, and this is what Diddy is remembering. So should this go down with Diddy, trust me, as somebody on a PR scale, Diddy's holding the best for last. He's the biggest gangster in the game. He learned it from all the gangsters. He collected dirt on all the gangsters, and his children walk in and out of that courtroom every day knowing their daddy has dirt on everybody. So I'm going to put my cards on Diddy, not to say that he's not going to do a little bit of time, but I'm still going to put my cards on Diddy.
Should President Trump give Diddy a pardon if he is found guilty?
If everybody wants to save their dirt from being aired out, he probably should. That's what I'm thinking.
Do you think he would? Because, when they ask him these questions in the press conference, he'd be like, oh, well, I haven't put much thought into that.
He was just playing with Diddy because, well, you know how Trump going to get you back when he can get you back. And Diddy's, all up, hey, Trump, we besties until Trump ran for president. And now you over here with Obama talking about vote or die. Trump doesn't forget. You know what I'm saying? So he had to publicly say, okay, ha, 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 Diddy, I am holding the threshold to your life in my hands. But that's just Trump. Do I think Trump is going to pardon him? Yes.
Dana with the data. Dana with the data.